Rhea.
And I'm Brandon.
And you're watching
More Love with R&B.
And today we are discussing... What are we discussing?
Really?
What's the title?
Seriously?
I was so focused on the points, I forgot to...
Knocking on divorce's door.
There we go. So, yeah, we want to talk about 3 things that we dealt with that kind of had us talking about, thinking about.
I think it was more
Thinking about.
Yeah, I feel like every couple goes through like their stuff, and sometimes I feel like some couples deal with things to the degree that it's like, oh, you frustrate me so much, but I love you so much. I don't know what I would do without you. And once you kind of get past that line, it's like, yo, like, you know. Like when you get to that point where you start entertaining something that you never, ever thought you'd be entertaining, but you're emotionally pushed to that point through sometimes very small circumstances, or I'll say seemingly small.
Yeah. So one of the first things right off the bat in our marriage that we faced, it seems so small, but it was lack of communication.
Yep.
So, like I said, it literally started right after the honeymoon. Came home.
Real talk.
And we started working. We started living our lives.
Yeah.
So it started very early. You know, we were really excited. We came home from our honeymoon, and then real life began. But we ain't never lived with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back to how we were doing things.
Yeah.
Go to work, and
come on.
Or if Brandon wanted to take a venture to a store or do this, that, and the third, he would do it.
A minor detour.
That's fine. The problem came in when I'm expecting my husband to come home at a certain time, because this is the time he always comes home, and 3:30 comes and goes. 3:45, 3:50, and I get no phone call. So I text him, hey babe, where you at? No response. 4 o'clock, 4:15, 4:25. Now I'm starting to worry. So I'm blowing up his phone. I'm a newlywed. I have heard awful stories about things happening, and I'm worried that my brand new husband is on the side of the road and can't get in contact with me. And then at 4:30, 4:45, he strolls through the house, and I'm like, where were you?
I'm like,
my
hey,
God.
How's it going?
I've been blowing up your phone. And he's like, what? And I'm like,
did you not get my texts? Did you not get my phone call?
Oh, I had turned my phone down, and I just forgot to turn it up. I didn't know you called. I just went to the store. I need you to call me. But see, he wasn't used to doing that before.
No, not at all.
And you can say, oh my gosh, that is so petty. That is not even a big deal. And
right.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, no. But the continued lack of communication, like for instance, I may have made plans with a cousin like weeks ago, and I didn't tell him. And I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, in an hour we have to go. Go where? I'm chill. I'm staying in the house. Nah, we made plans with the cousins to go out.
No. You made plans.
When did we make plans? Oh, about a week or 2 ago. And you didn't tell me? And so then now he feels obligated because I made plans and promised them that we would be at this restaurant or at this movie in an hour.
Right.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
So even though that is an example, first and foremost, I love my wife's family. So that's just
exactly
a hypothetical. That's not even a real example.
Right.
But I think the thing that we're trying to put focus on here too was like the consistency of the lack of communication. So some of you guys would hear what she's saying and kind of be like, oh, that's really not that big a deal. But it's like, yo, imagine if somebody keeps doing something small that you don't like over and over and over and over. And I could do the over like 9 more times just so you get the point, but I think you do get it. And it's like, that kind of thing can be frustrating, especially in the beginning of a marriage, because you realize 6 months ago, you just said, till death do us part. So 6 months ago, and you're like looking at how many more years do we probably like?
And it's like, you're not talking to me, you're not telling me things.
Right.
I'm constantly having to rearrange. Like, you know, it became very frustrating, the lack of communication.
Yeah, and there was a consistency of it.
And so that leads us to our next point. The next thing that caused a lot of frustration and tension within our marriage was the unspoken expectations. This kind of goes along with lack of communication, but it's kind of deeper in that you have thoughts about me, and what you would like for me to do, or what you would like for me to be, or whatever.
Or how I would like for you to act in a certain situation.
Act in a certain situation, how to contribute to the house, or whatever the case may be. But you refuse to share it with me.
But you know what else we do with unspoken expectations? We hold those standards over your head.
Like, we should know what they are.
But then we judge you by them when you even. So I haven't told you what I want from you, or what I want you to do, or how I want you to respond. And then when you don't do those things, I then get angry, or I then get upset, or I'm disappointed in you, and I've now cast this feeling on you. And then what happens in situations like that? What do people do? They walk around the house, and then they kind of go, "Hey, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Like, what's wrong with you?" Clearly, I'm supposed to just know. What's going on with you? It's like, then becomes the pulling teeth, and then eventually it comes out, well, you did such and such, and I was hoping you would do it. Well, you never told me that. You're like, how am I supposed to know? You never said anything. But now you're not only mad that I didn't do it, you've been wallowing or marinating in these feelings because you haven't spoken your expectations.
And this is something that we both were very guilty of, especially
Absolutely.
in the beginning of our marriage. But honestly,
put it on out there.
this is something, not as much, but this is something that we still deal with in our marriage. We either feel like, you know me by now, so
Oh gosh.
you should know that in this moment I am expecting you to respond this way.
Yeah.
Like, I came home and said,
And I'm like,
and you didn't ask me what was wrong.
okay.
You didn't ask me what was wrong. You didn't say, what, babe, what can I do for you? And that's the response I was expecting, and you didn't do that. So now I'm mad.
So let me also point out, also hypothetical, because I do that. I'm just saying. But it's a great example. Tell me I'm lying. You know I do that. I'm always attentive to women.
But I'll be honest, sometimes I'm not attentive to him. I'm gonna put myself out there. There are times when my husband comes home and he's been frustrated with work, frustrated with traffic. And he comes home and he is expecting me, number one, to greet him at the door. Hey babe, oh my gosh, I have been waiting all day for you to come home. How was your day? Come on, sit down. No, I mean, but I'm saying you're expecting me to greet you at the door because you've had such a hard day. That's what you wanted. That's what you needed in that moment. I'm not hating.
No, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm busy doing something else, and I see you come in the door like, hey babe, and I'm just like, just doing my thing.
Yeah,
I'm not even looking at you to see that you're frustrated or whatever. I just hear the door open. I'm like, hey babe, and you're like, oh, hey babe, and I'm just going about my business. Like, I'm not even hearing his tone. I'm not hearing his tone. I'm not looking at him or anything like that. And he's like,
it was good, yo.
So now, not only was he frustrated at work, he's frustrated with traffic. He came home and I didn't greet him in a way that he needed because I was not looking at him or attentive to him when he walked through the door. And instead of him saying, hey babe, I need you to stop what you're doing for a minute, I had a really bad day at work, he just doesn't say anything. But then there's this tension throughout the day, and I'm like, what's wrong? Nothing.
And here's the thing, for a lot of people who are thinkers, we have a video about the talker versus the thinker. Go ahead and check that out. It's right there. It's right there. So in that video, we kind of talk about what it means to be like a thinker, someone who kind of internalizes a lot, keeps everything up here, doesn't say a whole lot, even when they're feeling it. Those are the kind of people that have unspoken expectations. They're not the only kind, but they are the main kind that have things that they want and they don't say. And it's not just that they don't say them in the moment, it's that they let them stew.
They stew
In those unspoken expectations and the emotions from not sharing the expectations and what that causes. It's like, I wanted you to do this, but then you didn't do that. So now I'm sitting here judging you and thinking about all the things that you should have done. Oh, maybe she was tired. Yeah, she could have been tired, but she could have did this. Or maybe she had a bad day with the kids or something. Maybe she did. Yeah, but she still could have came over. Like,
And it's
I'm
all in his head.
all in my head, yo. Like, I'm so serious. Like, I can say why she didn't do what I expected her to do, even though I didn't tell her. I'm making up all these excuses, but then I'm rebutting the excuses. I'm giving her excuses.
And I have no idea
And
what's
then I'm
happening.
rebutting the excuses. That's like, nah, because she still could have came over here. She still could have came and said such and such. And I'm like, and it's just constant war, and it benefits no one. So when we talk about knocking on divorce's door, again, all these things seem like really small things. Especially some of you guys that's been married for like 30, 40 years. They've been like, oh, y'all just need to do this. It's like, yeah, that's great. But y'all know, it's those small things that add up over time that it's like, yo, how can after 9 years we're still dealing with, like, how are we still dealing with this after 9 years? Now, if you think about a year and all the stuff that happens in 1 year, can you imagine these tiny things being consistently over 9 years?
So now I'm having to guess what it is that you're feeling, or I'll even say that there are times where I don't communicate my expectations because I deal with guilt. And so I'm thinking that he should have done something, but I can't say it because I feel like if I'm gonna start a problem or I don't want to upset him and so I'm just gonna keep it to myself. And he's walking around like not even knowing how I'm feeling, but I feel like if I tell him, I feel guilty about, you know, ruining his day or whatever.
Don't ruin my day.
And this kind of leads me to our final point. Now, we've had like little things, whatever, but these 3 things is definitely what had us thinking.
3 words. Sorry.
Had us thinking about, like, is this something that we should be staying in?
Yeah.
And
real.
that was and that was issues with intimacy.
Yep.
We both had very different introductions to sex and intimacy. Just to make it a little bit more personal. I'm not gonna tell you all our business, but eventually we're gonna get into some details.
We'll
we're still learning one another.
You gotta subscribe.
We're still learning one another.
You gotta subscribe.
But generally speaking, we had very different introductions to intimacy, and it carried on into what we expected intimacy to look like between each other. But because of lack of communication and because of unspoken expectations,
come on, somebody.
we just assumed that you would know what I wanted and when, and vice versa.
That is probably one of the most, like, I can't imagine it not being frustrating to have an expectation that you're not sharing and to just overall not communicate. Not just have expectations that you're not sharing, but also just saying, this is not something I expect. This is how I feel about this. Not an expectation. I feel these things towards you. I feel these things about sex. I feel these things about what intimacy looks like in our marriage. I have a vision for what intimacy looks like in our marriage. Oh, really? Because I have a vision about what intimacy looks like in our marriage. Like, those, we weren't even saying any of that stuff. It was just like, some guys too, like, you get married, you're like, yo, when I get married, son, it's about to be this, it's going, like, and yo, you might even get that in year 1. But what do we do?
baby.
I know, before you even get the babies, you get jobs within, like, for instance, we got married. I was like, who did this one? That is what we done with just in the beginning. So, just being provided months before our first kid, when we lost our job. So, we had money issues, health issues, we had 1 kid, and after that, you had trying to get 2 space for 1 kid, and 2 kids come along, and then help you with the kids.
So much.
And that's just off the top. You pile all that stuff on, and then it's just like, thinking in my brain, I want her to sexually attack me when I walk in the door. And then, like she said earlier, I walk in the door like, hey, babe. She's like, hey, what's going on? And she keeps walking, and it's like, so I didn't say what I wanted. I never really communicated where I was at. And then I need you to like pounce on me in the bedroom, and you're like playing Candy Crush on your phone under the covers with your bonnet on.
Yes, I wear a bonnet.
Clearly communicating to me what's not going down.
So first we want to let you know, after we've told you all of the things that made us question whether or not we were supposed to be together, is that we're not getting a divorce.
No, we're not.
We know
You're
that
stuck with me.
we know that marriages come with challenges, and we realize that with every challenge that we dealt with, there is a learning process. And so we realized that we needed to set some safety things in place so that we got used to talking to each other on a regular basis. So we hope that you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about us.
Yep.
Our marriage is secure.
Yes.
For now. Saying.
But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
Yes.
And please don't forget to subscribe. And we'll give you some more juicy details later on. But you got to subscribe.
Please do.
And stick in there with us.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.